Hey everyone, welcome back to Sketch Day. I'm Spencer, and today we're just going to do something a little interesting. I've done this before, but just kind of felt like doing it again. I'm going to take a sketch that we do on paper and translate that into digital. But first we need to construct that object on paper. So if you have printer paper or anything else, marker paper, whatever, feel free to grab that. I'm working with a 14 by 17 inch marker pad today. And as always, I'll put the links in the description of the show, and you can purchase materials if you need to that way and help support what we do here at Sketchaday. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, I need to think of the general proportion of what I'm sketching, and I guess I should let you know I am sketching a, what do you call that, like a dust broom and pickup. So the first thing I'm going to do here is just kind of envision on the paper how you want to show your concept. If you need to, you can thumbnail some ideas in the corner. But I'm just going to go ahead and start with just a basic kind of frame and perspective here. And we'll keep it nice and loose. All right, so now I've got kind of a general proportional outline of what I want to do. Just drop a center line in, like so. And I need to decide, visually what this design is. Of course, you probably have an idea in your head. Let's divide proportionally here. And I'm going to draw a line straight up and down like so. So now what I want to do is think of the shape of the bottom of this dustpan. Okay, and it's going to kind of ramp up on the sides as well. This is where my handle is going to interface. And probably I'm going to have like the brush be stored right there. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to draw a curve around like so, and coming around this side. That'll become the bottom of our dustpan. Now for the rest of this, if I just draw a couple lines up like so, and I'm slightly curve this line like that, and then if I need to, just a little reference point right there. Draw up, and I can curve these sides. If you want it to be perfectly circular, you'd have to construct an ellipse in perspective, but I'm just going to keep that nice and loose here. Okay, so now we have essentially, let's draw through on the bottom. We have a rough shape or outline for our dustpan. Now we need to do the handle, so let's construct a quick square here in perspective, project that back, okay, and draw an ellipse on top of that. Okay, and this ellipse, or cylinder rather, is going to become the handle for a dustpan, okay. And I'm just going to add a little kind of transitional line here. And hopefully you can kind of see that coming together like so. And I want, it feels right. I'm going to have my brush kind of be stored in the dustpan. So just on top here. Mind you, I haven't really looked at any reference. I'm just kind of pulling from my mental visual library, so maybe this will resemble some other design, but that's okay. And here I'm going to have just a little bit of a cutout where my handle might be stored from this brush. Okay, now it looks really rough, but once we get into our digital side, we can clean things up a bit. Alright, so now I'm just taking this shape, right, and projecting back and kind of roughing in my brush here. And we'll use a little bit of Sharpie to clean this up, but I just wanted to get the rough sketch done here, and then we'll use our little digital tricks to kind of clean things up as we go. All right, as always, you want to draw with your shoulder because that's going to give you cleaner lines. Rotate your paper if you have to get the line that you want. Okay, so I just rotated there because it's felt like the most natural position for me to draw this line in. Okay, and I just want a little bit of a feature here to kind of keep my dust from falling out when I sweep up. Okay, so now I've got a rough sketch of my super wide dustpan with brush storage, and let's add a little parting detail on the top of the brush. And if we want, we could do something like maybe the end of this dustpan has a little bit of a strap for some reason. No, maybe it's just so you can hang it up if you need to. And I started sketching this in earlier, but I'm gonna sketch in just a little bit of a drop shadow here on the page. Okay, now let's give the dustpan a little bit of thickness. So what I mean is just on this edge right here, I'm going to carefully follow this line. Now I want it to be fresh, so I'm trying to be careful to not trace or draw too slowly, but resketch, if you will, those lines. Okay? Alright, so now that we're to this point, I'm going to take my Sharpie and kind of work on the outline of my sketch. Now I'm using a brand new Sharpie. I like brand new Sharpies because they have a nice sharp tip. They're a cheap marker. Now if I were going to apply traditional, alcohol-based markers to this drawing, I may not want to use a Copic marker because it will bleed with the Sharpie. So the Sharpie I'm just using to add some line weight to the outside of my drawing here. And that's going to help. Even though I have my construction lines on the drawing, it's going to kind of help pull the essence of my drawing out of kind of the mess of the construction lines, okay? So again, drawing with my shoulder, pivot here, pivot at your elbow, lock your wrist. That's what I mean by drawing with your shoulder. You'll get much cleaner lines and a much more energetic, exciting drawing as well. And generally with line weights, what I try to do is create a hierarchy or a system where you've got heavier line weights on the outline of your shape and kind of an in-between where there's a little bit of overlap, meaning if I have two surfaces overlapping each other, right? There's a 3, which is going to be the outline of the whole thing, 2, which is pretty much the overlap of this object or this hand in front of this hand. That overlap would happen here, for example. And then 1 would kind of be all the other detail lines that you get. Now I am leaving the brush kind of unsketched in, and the reason for that is I want to add those details digitally and finish up as I go. Okay. And because I am planning on working digitally, I'm not as concerned about getting all the details right off the bat, because I'll be able to erase and change a few things and add some clarity to the design as I go. So that's one of the nice things about working digitally. And the reason I am sketching on paper is sometimes it just, I know it sounds kind of weird, but sometimes it just feels right to sketch that concept on paper. And so being able to do that quickly can save you time, but it can also pull you out of doing things digitally right off the bat, which can almost seem a little too perfect at times. Okay, I decided to add those bristle details after all. And, I'm not sketching in every bristle of my brush here, but just enough, and I'll clean this up digitally here, but just enough to kind of hint or show that this is a brush, right? Maybe change some of these lines on the outside as well. Add a little bit of hairiness to the end. Make it not look so perfect. Okay? And okay, we got our strap, handle. I'll clear up this area specifically digitally as well, but that should be kind of the general outline. I'll shade in my shadow. And the goal or hope is that we can just transfer this to our digital package. And that'll be in part 2 of the video. And from there, we can just drop some color in, add some layer blending techniques, and quick color to really just have a rapid concept sketch. This works really great for ideation pages where you have lots of ideas on one page and you want to just pull out important concepts or ones that you like. You can take a picture of the page, which is what we're going to do, add some color, and enhance the presentation. Okay. So I may take these lines out, but I'm going to add just a couple groove lines here, like so. And there you go. We have a quick sketch of a dustpan. And it takes a little bit of practice to figure out, you know, where to put your shading and how much to put. I'm anticipating that I don't want this to be kind of a photoreal rendering, but rather, you know, cleaning up some stuff, but just adding color quickly to create what I would call a presentation sketch. So any kind of details I can add right now, I will, so that I don't have to do that digitally. Okay. All right, so that completes part 1. I know that was really quick, but come back for part 2 where I'll take this sketch, transfer it to my iPad Pro, and finish that digitally. As always, you can find me on Instagram at instagram.com/sketchaday.com or just at sketchaday.com on Instagram if you're using your mobile phone. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to or follow me on Instagram, turn on notifications. Facebook, Instagram, they do this thing where they don't notify if I post. So if you want to see the latest, turn those on. And you know, you can always email me, but the best way these days to get a hold of me is on Instagram. I'll respond to messages when I get them, so, and comments. Well, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time for part 2 right here on Sketchaday.